Hey there, film fans. I'm Jeff.
I'm Dave.
And I'm John, and welcome back to The Love of Cinema, a pod in which we'll challenge one another to discuss movies, both new and old, with a strictly positive critical eye.
That's right. And to avoid lazy negativity, we have made this episode a drinking game.
Oh,
That's right. This is
Oh,
a
it went on the
drinking.
laptop. It went on the laptop.
oh no!
Don't you do this to
We'll be
us,
fine,
Dave.
Giant
We'll be
fire.
Hold it together, little MacBook.
Okay, so this is a drinking. This is a drinking game. Anytime we say anything negative about a film or each other or anything, you're going to hear this sound. And that sound means that we have to take a drink, which we're going to toast to right now. And we hope that you at home
yeah.
drink along with us.
So, pour yourselves a glass and let's start a secret society and kick the shit out of some bad guys.
Let's do
Hey.
it. Is this under the banner of should have seen that by now for us?
No, this still counts as a now showing sort of thing because it only just came out on, it was HBO Max?
It came out again. This is the second film in 2 weeks after
Yeah.
Nightmare Alley, where this is on Hulu and HBO Max. I don't know what games Disney is playing because Disney is definitely trying to wrap their hands around the throat of HBO
Disney's
Max.
like, well, okay, we can't put it on Disney Plus, so we'll just fucking sell it to everyone. Would be my guess.
Also, but also Hulu. Like, if you're HBO, how much would you spend if you know that? Like, I actually watched this on Hulu.
Well, it's funny because Hulu only has like 50-something million subscribers, and HBO Max is still trying to beef theirs up as well. So they're sitting around the 60-70 million mark, I think. So like they will buy it to get subscribers.
Interesting.
Because
All right.
yeah, Hulu has a ridiculously low amount of subscribers for what I thought they had because they have some good shit.
I think that's true. Well, and then a lot of those people, including me, they get it through the Disney bundle, right? But you have to watch ads. So whenever it's a movie, I just have to watch like 2 minutes of ads at the beginning. But that's totally worth it for me. I don't watch I don't watch like things that are the next day rerun, whatever, the day after air or whatever. So anyway, you can watch this right now, people. This is The King's Man. This is directed and written by Matthew Vaughn. Did I say that right?
I think so.
Vaughn. That's right. Yeah. Who knows how to make money at the box office? This is somebody. Well, he directed Layer Cake and Stardust, but then Kick-Ass, X-Men First Class, and then Kingsman: Secret Service in 2014, Kingsman: The Golden Circle in 2017.
I'll
A
just
short
say,
film.
Kingsman, nobody saw coming, the first one. Nobody saw that coming.
Yeah. I was like, oh, Colin Firth is taking his Oscar and cashing in, having fun. I don't know. That's what I thought.
How wrong we were.
Anyway, we'll talk more about this. But first, we have to shout our people out, people. We have to shout our people out. John, let's do it.
Our people. We have a beer sponsor. His name is Carlos Barroso. Follow him on Instagram, people. That is CBAROZOBAR.beer. Just go over there and give him a follow. He's got fun recipes. He's got some interactive stuff if you want to kind of follow along with his life as a beer fucking master. Carlos, we love you. And if you like the music on this episode and every single episode, it is provided by the artist Dasein. That's Dasein, Dasein. Head on over to soundcloud.com/Dasein-artist and you can download all that music for free.
I think I'm going to change my website to .beer, I think.
Beer.
Just .beer.
I feel like I get more visitors.
Yeah, you have to get some stumblers just coming across you that way.
That's really funny. All right. Well, this is The Kingsman, people. The King's Man. Sorry, I should make that clear. The King's Man, 2021, a prequel to the other two films. Directed Matthew Vaughn, written by Vaughn and Carl. Oh boy, Gactusek.
Oh boy.
And it is.
I don't know if you got that right or wrong, but just in case. You're brave for
so
attempting
sorry.
it.
Oh boy.
I'm so sorry to Carl. and of
That's
course,
so
this
funny.
and all of them are based on the book The Secret Service by Mark Millar. I'm saying Millar because there's an AR at the end. It could be Miller. The storyline, let's just dive right into it, and then we can open it up. And Joe, we're going to be spoiler free for a couple minutes here, people. So in case you have HBO Max and or Hulu, which odds are you do, if you want to go ahead and give this a listen and then come back to us. Or not. It's up to you, depending on what you think of our initial takeaways here. But here is the storyline. We'll try to stay spoiler-free with our initial reactions after I finish reading this. In the early years of the 20th century, the Kingsman Agency, I'm saying Kingsman Agency now, is formed to stand against a cabal plotting a war to wipe out millions. These fucking marketing people, I don't know why I don't prep this ahead of time. Apparently, the Kingsman people were very highly involved in World War I guess, trying to dodge
Well,
World War One.
well, that's the funny thing. A lot of the stuff that happens in this movie is historically accurate. They just kind of put them in the background, manipulating it. So, like, there's certain liberties taken, but like, it is kind of accurate in like how it went down.
Did you know that Ray Fiennes was in the car with Archduke Ferdinand? I had no idea.
Yeah, look at photos on the internet. He's there. Now, if they were smart, they'd go and find some altered, like, they'd alter some photos and put him in there.
That would have been good marketing. Let me just read the cast really quick. Ray Fiennes, as I said, is our leading character, playing Orlando Oxford, the Duke of something. I don't know. Gemma Arterton, Rhys Ifans. I've never learned how to pronounce his name, but he's awesome. He plays Rasputin, who, by the way, the animated Anastasia movie from 1997 that famously lost the Oscar for Best Song to Titanic. They did not tell me that Rasputin likes to, I believe this is a quote, fuck like a tiger. I did not know they did that. Anastasia really left that out.
Yeah, I know. Dude, you got to get the DVD. It's in the deleted scenes.
You know, there are some disgusting drawings that came out of their animation room. Just shit that never made it to the screen.
I have the wrong buzzer deck up, but Dave, that was for you. Okay, Harris Dickinson, handsome young chap who plays Ray Fiennes' son, Conrad Oxford, who just wants to go to war, just wants to fight, but he's only 17, even though he looks 28. Jimon Hansu, who's awesome again. Fuck.
My buzzer works.
Jimon Hansu playing Shola, aka Merlin. Matthew Good playing Morton. Charles Dance as Kitchener, because if there is a British military officer, you call up Charles Dance and see if he's available. And a whole bunch of other people you'd probably recognize. But big shout out to Daniel Bruhl and my boy, Tom Hollander, who I saw in a play in New York. He's an awesome actor. He plays Tsar Nicholas. He plays King, whatever English king there is right now. And he plays the Russian, he plays three
Tsar.
different, yeah, he plays Tsar Nicholas, the German.
Oh, wait, that was the same guy?
Yeah, it's the same actor.
Did not even get that. That's kind of cute.
Well, good, because I can't remember the names of any of these historically accurate characters right now. I'll pass it off to you guys. What do you guys think of this movie?
Dave?
This did not pull any punches about the stupidity and futility of war, really. Like, so if you're expecting the same tone as the first two, you're going to get about maybe 90 seconds of that. I would say it's a lot more serious than the other ones. It's a lot darker.
It seems serious, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it sat well with me, to be honest, because when like with the dark tone, when they went kind of full ridiculous, or like, you know, how the movies get, it was too much of a contrast, and it didn't sell. So this one was a swing and a miss for me.
Yeah, okay.
I'll take it.
Yep. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, sure.
Did you fix your buzzer yet, Jim?
I know, right?
My pages are all blank. Anyway, John, I'll figure it out.
I totally know what you mean about the contrast from the first two. I think Dave and I have talked before, fun off air, about how much we enjoy those first two. They really came out of nowhere, and
not so much
I
the
think
second one.
everybody had
I was not a big fan
fun.
of, like, I was a fan of the second one till we got to Elton John, and then it just got a bit stupid for my liking.
I still didn't mind it too. I mean, but you're right though that they're so kitschy, and they have such a sense of humor about them, and that humor kind of finds its way into campy.
There's a tone,
scene work, and the tone, and it's in the fight choreography too. Those first two, so I feel like it.
Just buzzer works, I guess.
I got my buzzer working there, guys.
Jeff's buzzer is back. So I guess for this one, and you could kind of tell from the trailers, I don't know, I feel like they still were trying to invite you in with a lot of that, the big, ridiculous action. But I could also tell that I wasn't positive that they were going for the same tone with the actual story. I also couldn't tell what the hell the story was in the trailer. I'm not quite sure if I understand it, having seen the movie. So we can talk about that as we move forward, just the way they chose to structure it. But
Subversion, I almost buzzed you for that.
Yeah, you got me, right? Subversion was what I felt like was the overwhelming word that I kind of walked away with this. I feel like they were trying to turn a lot of the things that they had set up with the first two on their heads with this one. Tone, story, and motifs about just general story structure. I don't want to spoil anything, but there are some very obvious, what I thought were obvious archetypes set up for certain kinds of characters that potential protagonist, leading protagonist, and the way that they kind of divert away from those typical storylines, it didn't work for me. But I felt like they were doing all these things intentionally. So when we get into spoilers, we'll definitely dive in because I don't want to say anything just in case people want to sit down and have a good time. But there was overall, I think I agree with you. I don't think it certainly comparatively, it's a shame to do, but we are talking about a trilogy now.
Yeah, it's a franchise.
This is not my number one. I guess it's a franchise. I guess they're going to keep going with it. So far right now, this is number 3. Number 1 is number 1. Number 2 is number 2, and this is number 3 for me.
So
in order of my my
that was very well worded. You managed to avoid getting buzzed for that whole thing.
Yeah,
you know what? Fuck you. Buzz me anyway because I think you guys know what I'm saying.
One quick analogy I will make. Anyone who plays video games who listens to this, I years ago I played the game Far Cry. And Far Cry is a great game where you get trapped on this island and there's like soldiers on the island and you've got to avoid them. And all of a sudden you find this complex and you walk in there and straight away the whole thing turns on its head and it's like Island of Dr. fucking Moreau. There's monsters that he's done experiments on and all this sort of shit. So I played it right through to completion. Far Cry 2 came out. I raced out and got it. And it's set in a fictional East African country that's like fallen into anarchy. And I'm playing it through and I'm waiting for the twist and it just doesn't come. And the whole it was a much more serious sort of historically biographical, and there was no actual real nation, but it was about a nation that fell into like civil war between, I guess,
you brought this up,
mercenaries and stuff.
What were we talking about? You brought that up, and the fans voted on changing the ending. And Far Cry?
No, there was I know Mass Effect had an ending change, but that was because someone leaked it on the internet.
Okay,
and everybody they finally got that. But yeah, it was that kind of thing. So anyone who plays those games will recognize what I'm talking about. It's like it was something like the expectations didn't meet what they delivered, and that might be partially my fault as someone who's watching it, but also you set the tone, and then gave us something else under the same banner.
Tone and establishing typical ways that you would establish stuff in this genre of film. Again, they very obviously did this on purpose. They broke what they established.
They opened in a concentration camp in Africa. Of course, yes, they were going for a more serious tone.
I mean, yeah, for sure. But I think we're talking about like story structure and character arcs now. And I mean, I think that's what you were talking about, Dave, right? Like it wasn't just tonally that was confusing.
It wasn't
to
just
you, right?
tone. It was like, the
tone was weird, but
the tone was definitely weird.
I'm gonna stay.
We're gonna get into it. That whole Rasputin sequence was so strange. But yeah, Jeff, what did you think?
I'm gonna get into this. I do agree with all of you. However, I'm still gonna fight for this movie. Also, I believe somebody on a brother podcast, a sister podcast of ours, said that this was their favorite movie of the year. Which I was watching it at some point in the middle of the movie. I was like, "That's
who said that?
Fucking hilarious
Who said
choice."
That? Say their name out loud.
Call them out.
Yeah.
Were you there? Didn't Mark say that? Didn't he phone it in? And didn't he say this is his favorite movie of the year?
That was his favorite. Mark.
Didn't he say The King's Man?
Mark.
Yeah.
Mark.
That's for you.
I thought he did.
Yeah, dude.
I thought
we might have to have him.
Somebody text him. Just text him drink.
You're totally right. We might have to get him. We might have to get.
Because I had just driven by the theater that said The King's Man. I was like, oh, that's actually in theaters right now. I had COVID, so I couldn't. Whatever. So. Yeah, what they wanted to be the movie where goats were headbutting people off of cliffs, and where Scottish people just kill goats when they're angry for no reason, or chop off their horns, and then even goats get the yeah, that's on you. That's not historically accurate. Goats get the retribution. Also, I feel like a little bit of an asshole for getting this wrong. King George of England, Kaiser Wilhelm of Germany, and Tsar Nicholas of Russia in this story are all played by the same person because I guess they were triplets that all spread around and then they all obviously that doesn't make any sense, but I
think it's even more fun. I think they're poking even more fun because they're supposed to be cousins, so that's how inbred that family was.
Yeah,
Victoria's heirs, right?
That's pretty much where they're going with that.
Okay, sorry, that's good. Rasputin,
also not historically inaccurate.
Nope. What else? I wrote some ridiculous things. Something about him being Red Cross. The title scroll was weird. I didn't like one of the logos, one of the opening companies, Marv. Whoever runs Marv, I hate
Oh,
the
yeah,
logo.
yeah.
Okay, you can't criticize the film.
We're not
logo
even to the
before-
movie
the
yet.
film hasn't even
Jeff has got
started. You're in
issues. Fuck this movie. We fucking put that.
I like
Oh,
to think about
fucking
Oxfords and not
Marv.
rogues.
Ah.
Whenever I see another new World War I or II movie, I'm always a little skeptical, especially when they start making Lancelot jokes. So like, but like, I really wanted to have fun. I don't know why they went full Paths of Glory with the World War I scenes. I know because of the death and that kind of stakes and stuff. But the Rasputin scene was ridiculous, and it was 15 minutes long. And I was like, okay, let's be this fun movie. But then they killed him, and he was by far the most interesting villain in the movie.
Should we are we
Sorry,
throwing up the spoilers?
Oops.
I mean, it's historically accurate. We know that he doesn't make it through this scenario.
yeah, guys, watch Anastasia. He doesn't make it, right?
And historically,
Also,
you know
when
that
since
fucker is hard to kill. So,
Yeah.
so
Since-
they play with that too.
They do that. Yeah. Since you bring up
let's
the
send people
Lancelot
away,
thing,
sorry.
didn't they? Like they right at the very beginning, they set it up where like the kid was Lancelot and the mother was Guinevere or something. Yeah. Doesn't Lancelot bang Guinevere?
Yes, and I thought that this is what I'm talking about, the
Yeah,
subversion. I do
Matthew
feel
Vaughn.
like I do feel no, I'm telling you, I do feel like maybe this was the problem, was that there was like a sarcastic nature to the way they approached the drama. I feel like he was kind of poking fun at certain things.
There was a
and
sarcastic
everybody who
nature by
knows
the way
that
they
legend at
approached the
all.
storyboard, not the actual
I don't know,
film.
this
But that's a good point. That like you can't say that. You can't have your child say that about their mom, and not everyone in the audience realized what the fuck are they talking about? The
Yeah, it's
ancestral
like,
nature
did he just
of that level of society in
did he
England?
just stop
Like,
at first draft and go, okay, it's done, and not reread or something? Like,
really weird,
'Cause
man. That
that's
weirded me
stuck
out
out.
too. And it was again. That's what I was talking
It was
about
the beginning.
specifically. There were things that happen in the exposition that establish, like, of course, they're smart enough filmmakers. They know what we're thinking, and they know that that's going to play into the way we interpret the rest of
or
the
we're
movie.
just all disgusting.
I guess I don't know. I do think they were poking fun, but it didn't.
Either way, I feel
I don't know,
attacked.
I feel attacked.
Guys, Ray Fiennes and Rasputin got
I'm
pretty.
triggered.
They got pretty close to doing some.
All right,
sexual
I'm
stuff.
putting
I
the
really,
spoilers. I'm putting the spoilers.
I was
on.
going to say,
Yeah.
throw it up. Let's talk about it.
because there's
It's
a
so
lot
weird.
to
Let's
talk about.
Wait, apparently, yeah, okay. Spoilers away.
Spoilers are up.
See you guys. Go see this on Hulu or HBO Max.
It's easy.
I didn't know that Rasputin. He's like, we're Russians. We like ballet, art, and fucking like tigers, and also sweet boys. Just all this stuff I didn't know about Rasputin, which led to Ray Fiennes apparently fitting the mold and like undressing and then having a weird fight in a room that also had a lake in it. And they did. Also, if you go in a cold river, it heals all wounds. So, like, you're
Okay,
right.
yeah, let's just
I liked
stop
all
there.
that stuff because it was funny, but the tone of the movie was
What the
playing
fuck was
too
with that
serious,
leg
but-
healing scene? Like that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
More so than they've ever done in any of the other films, and it was stupid and exceptionally convenient at the same time because they needed him to be able to move later in the movie. So it's like, let's have Rasputin magically fix his leg and let's make it funny and overtly sexual. It was cheap.
It felt like a student film pitch session where they're like, okay, we could do this fight scene. My parents gave us $60,000 so we can film an action scene.
Yeah.
What should we do? Oh, he's going to break. Well, he has a messed up leg. Oh, but it'll heal. You know, it's almost like
I
they were
feel
like
it-
high and pitching these fun, ridiculous
I feel
ideas.
like I feel like he yelled cut and they're like, what the fuck do you mean the cameras were rolling for that?
I just can't even imagine. We had a little blurb, folks. We're back though. I was just saying, I'm fucking curious to have read what that Rasputin sequence, specifically the seduction scene when Ray Fiennes and him are alone. I wish I could have read what they wrote.
I mean, the table
Like,
read was
I
probably
cannot-
funny as hell.
I guess so,
Definitely.
but like they're different movie, right? Like
Yeah.
that could have worked in like a Almodovar movie or something where like the crossing of the lines of seduction and trying to get information, status. But then when he actually bent down and started like licking his leg and Ray Fiennes was like orgasming, it was
It
just
was
I
weird.
I was like,
It
what
was-
movie
it
is
was a
I
little-
just wasn't
yeah.
quite sure what was happening.
Because it was so out of character for him
Yeah,
as
I don't
well.
know.
Yeah, I'm not sure
It
that
was, and I was
I'm
also
not sure
like,
that was cricket, as they would say.
would you say too that like were we supposed to were we supposed to sincerely believe that Ray Fiennes was being hypnotized or was he playing along?
No,
well,
I
because
think
Rasputin was supposed to be like a
hypnotized.
yeah. Rasputin's supposed to be some kind of healer / whatever, but he was
Right.
also was manipulating the Tsar. So they're taking the real story and they're kind of fucking with it. In fact, that is how he died. He just didn't die by the Brits. He died by some other, I think, a Russian agent or something. But apparently, like there was a fight scene with
Yeah.
swords, and then somebody shot him, and he died. In a
Oh
lake.
yeah, he
Like,
was stabbed, shot, drowned. Yeah,
But
he
like
was
he
exceptionally hard to
ridiculous.
kill.
and apparently they people think he was manipulating the Tsar, the family, maybe working for the other side. So it's almost yeah,
for sure.
I don't know if that inspired this entire story, or I should say the entire comic book. But that I know I kind of ruined it in the spoiler section, but to be clear, that scene was ridiculous.
Yes,
That was the most interesting part of the movie was the Rasputin stuff, because once you end Rasputin, then we were so invested in this son that we can't just like see him in World War One. So they have to like build World War One up from scratch on the No Man's Land front. And I will say, like the No Man's Land sequence at night where they don't want to shoot and they're like silently trying to stab each other. Really exciting stuff.
That was a good scene. I don't know if
Really
it had a
cool.
place in the Kingsman film.
I don't know why we need a 30-minute World War One set piece for it, but it was really fun. So cool.
Especially because he dies. What the fuck?
Oh,
Like, let's
dude.
just say it. Like, what the fuck was that about? I thought that this was going to be him coming of age and becoming the first.
I did not see that coming, and I was really
Me
put
neither.
off by it. Like I was like, he's going to make it back home, and like my wife who was watching it with me, she was like, "No, I saw that coming a mile away."
Well,
and I'm like,
all-
"What?"
Also, that he could conveniently get the code that was already cracked, so that you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So that the Americans go to war. I understand why they did it. I'm not saying that I don't, but
I don't know.
you're
again,
right. Nobody saw that. I mean, people were surprised when it happened, but it's not like Ned Stark dying crushed me. But like, thank God he died for the sake of the story.
This one made me
And
feel the same way
This movie was after that was. I was like, oh, they better figure this shit out. 'cause
Yeah,
what
this
the fuck?
this made me feel the same as Starship Troopers when they have the accident on the live fire range, and he accidentally blows his
yeah,
friend's
yeah,
head
and you're
off,
Whoa,
and it was like,
yeah.
what the fuck? Like that, yeah. That and Beth from Walking Dead, I think, are the two most memorable deaths. In
But Starship,
entertainment
but
for
even
me.
in Starship Troopers, like at least from that point on, you kind of get the feeling that like this is not supposed to be a normal movie.
Yeah, it wasn't someone who was set up as one
Whereas-
of the protagonists.
So
as
like
well.
again, we can't help but we live in a franchised world now, and this is a franchise. So Taron had Colin Firth,
Yeah.
but it was about Taron coming of age. He didn't displace Colin Firth in either of them, but it was about him rising to be the main protagonist, right?
Insane.
So
yeah, insane.
I think-
That they did it backwards in this one.
It's like they did it backwards, which again, I understand the fun part of subversion, but folks, just so you can stay with us, just so you can clock this with us. We're talking about the person who we thought was going to be the main hero, or at least a joining hero, a co-protagonist coming of age into their role, gets killed about halfway through this movie. We're also talking about Rasputin, who was definitely the most interesting villain. He gets killed about a third of the way into the movie. So then you're kind of just always left. And I could see them sitting around a table and being like, that's how espionage is, though. Like you think it's this person and then you get more information. Then you think it's this person, you get more information. And I just don't know if it actually ended up playing out to create the most fun character arcs for anybody.
It was clever. They're being clever. You know, they were basically, what is it? Kevin Smith said he'll write a scene. I don't know if this is, I don't mean to quote him, but he'll be like, I'll write a scene and then I'll stop and I'll go back and I'll just like put a fucking knife in my scene and I'll just go in a different direction on purpose. Because if whatever was taking me that way, if I change directions, then the audience will be caught off guard. And that's just like a little too clever. I think that probably led to these deaths the way that they happened. Because then what? Is Daniel Bruhl supposed to be the more interesting villain? That obviously didn't work out. Us trying to figure out if the Scottish guy is James McAvoy or not.
Oh yeah, I actually
Clearly
said
the
that out
shepherd-
loud. I
Clearly,
actually
the
said that out
shepherd,
loud.
they're not showing it. And it's almost like they were like, Matthew Good, can you sound like James McAvoy or do we have to pay him to do a voiceover?
I actually, the one of the compliments I would give it was that we actually got like a Bond villain set up in a not Bond movie. Like it was the table full of henchmen.
Yeah.
You never see his face till right at the end.
Unfortunately, though, he didn't hear a fucking plane crash and ice collapse and a goat battle right outside the barn door. Somehow he didn't hear any of that. Can you imagine not hearing a plane crash if you're on a plateau in the middle of nowhere? I'm saying,
windy up there.
It's fine. It's all fun, but how did he not hear that?
I mean, it wasn't windy up there. No one's hair moved, but it should have been windy up there.
I still had some fun with this movie, but I definitely zoned out a lot. For sure.
I laughed
It
with
was
the
fun.
goat.
Yeah, I laughed with the goat. Fuck yeah.
The goat.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
goat.
of course you're
Animals for the
of
win
course you're
this
still
week.
gonna have fun.
Yeah, fuck yeah, animals.
I also just couldn't help. I also just couldn't help you guys, and I am. we've talked many times about how you're supposed to navigate these social issues, these big things that you kind of can't avoid. So it's affecting the way we look at certain themes and certain characters in movies now. This whole thing just did feel, I was a little bit like, wow, let me just make sure I've got this right. The balls these guys had. This is a story about the posh upper class of London taking it upon themselves to become vigilante heroes in a war that was started by the posh upper class, like the Royal Society.
Yeah.
So they were basically just saying that, like, at this period in time when we have had fucking January 6th and everything else that's going on, they're saying that they want to tell a story about people who, if you have power, you should fucking. I mean, I don't know. Am I way out of track by like saying? I was kind of like, wow, I kind of can't believe they decided to greenlight this story. Because again, looking at the first two, Taran is not posh. His character was not from that class, right? They kind of pull him out of the diamond in the rough kind of thing, which is a much more typical archetype for this. So I thought it was interesting that if they were trying to work from a result, that based on the first two, we know that the Kingsman Intelligence Agency began by these upper class people. I thought it was interesting that they just kind of shamelessly went at it from this direction and didn't really try to deal with any of the themes that there was an inherent obstacle because they had so much power,
but I mean,
that they were taking advantage of it. I just thought that was a missed opportunity.
The poor can't start a resistance. We saw that in Les Mis. It didn't end well.
They tried so hard, you ass. Wait, I'm gonna go back. I'm getting madder because when that plane crashed and Ray Fiennes parachuted out of it, I really thought there were only 2 people on the whole plateau. But then there were like 12 other people on it. How did none of them notice this plane crash and the guy with the parachute was going right after the plateau? And then he snuck on. And then later they were like, where did that guy come from? How did nobody notice a plane? They were on a fucking plateau in the sky in the middle of fuck knows where. I'm guessing by the goats. Austria? Where were I have no idea. It was fucking maybe they were in Scotland.
They did tell us at one point. I will say the first scene when I saw that and I saw the elevators, like my first thought was fuck that.
Yes, I thought that too. I thought, obviously we were like that somebody's gonna die in that elevator thing, and it's gonna look just like Midsommar. Yeah. We saw 2 Midsommar drops to their lives. I thought it was just gonna be 1, but they gave us 2. So kudos to them for that. Also, Polly can snipe. Polly can fucking snipe. Yeah, but you're right. Polly was the best character. Well, Rasputin was great, but Polly was the best character in this. No offense to Rafe, because Rafe really tried.
I will tell you one thing. I think the thing that pissed me off the most, and it's going to stick with me, and it kind of soured the first 2, is that their catchphrase, "The manners maketh man," came from the villain.
Good point. I didn't think of that.
And it was like,
interesting.
Oh, you've tainted that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Wait. Clarify that. Are you saying the Kingsmen's?
Yeah.
Or
because that's what they said in the first one.
They eventually take that on. Yeah.
And it usually preceded an awesome fucking fight. And also, while we're at it, let's bring up the fight choreography, because there was some good stuff, but I still felt like it was held back a little. Like, granted, they're never going to top that church sequence in the first one.
I mean, that thing was.
But to their credit, there was some great camera work working with the studies. Like they held them in frame as they moved and stuff. I really dig that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I do too. And I don't want to take anything away from there. I do really appreciate that they were like, let's not do the same thing again. You know, we've got a third movie. We got a big budget and a lot of really great stars. Let's try to mess with it. But this was also, and I'm very aware I'm speaking as an American, so feel free to buzz me, anyone over there across the pond. But yeah, sure. Both of my guys, both of these.
Oh, good thing I buzzed Dave. I knew that Dave was going to buzz John. So okay.
Any opportunity to go ahead and buzz me. I was a little.
Are you playing with your dog right now? We are trying to record.
I was playing with my dog. Yeah, sorry. I was throwing a toy so that she could chase it. I was a little let down. Sure. I was a little let down that this entire. I mean, the history. Dave was right. So much of this. Were you let
down by this movie?
Fuck you, John. I was so let down that by the end of this, after all of these fun ways that whether or not they were successful, it was still fun, them poking, kind of trying to shine light on the ridiculous absurdity of what World War I was actually started over and fought over for so long. A lot of those big picture things, those comments are true, that they were placed in leadership positions after Queen Victoria, was still in the throne, but eventually, that is ridiculous. The fact that it all came full circle in a movie made by Englishmen eventually filtered down to being about the English versus the Scots really felt derivative to me. If I'm being totally real, I was like, are you serious? Are you telling me we're supposed to believe that this entire thing was over a grudge that a person from Scotland had with England, which is like, of course, like the oldest fucking feud in their entire island. I get that.
Scottish grudges are back in again, man. They had Brexit.
I was going to say, like, is one of these people, was there a creator, was there a filmmaker on their team who was, I was like, wait a second, who fought for that? it just came out of absolute nowhere to me. Obviously, the guy had a fucking Scottish accent. I knew he was Scottish, but I was like, why is he Scottish? I just kept trying to understand, like, what is going on? Why does this have anything to do with the rest of this film? And then the reveal just felt very trite to me when Matthew Good walked out, who I love Matthew Good. I think he's a wonderful actor and he pulled it off. But when he finally walked out of the shadows, I was just like, all right, I'm ready for this movie to be over.
Then we got the way they did it was like stunt,
the way they did it was, it's almost like they were like, did
me
we
for
get
that
you?
Because I'm an asshole. Yeah, did we get you?
Jeff,
fuck me. I'm sorry, Matthew Vaughn.
No, yeah, they did kind of be like, did we get you? I bet you don't know who it is. Who's it gonna be coming out of the shadow?
I didn't know.
The guy who shoots people for literally no reason and hopes that it makes an impact.
I didn't get it. My wife got it halfway through the movie. She called out who it was.
I should have too, because I saw Matthew Good and I remember thinking, oh, well, he's not getting work. Because
of course you were like,
his role was so small in this movie, and I was like, all right, well,
how about fucking Stanley Tucci at the end in the meeting of the? I was like, what?
John, that's clearly for the next movie.
God, I wish it was that.
I guess so.
They said we'll give you 1 day of work, we'll pay you scale, and then now you can negotiate if this movie does decently enough to get another movie.
That is our first official dog bark on the podcast.
Yeah, I just don't.
Hilarious.
I know. I'm sorry. Lily is.
I think we got it.
Yeah,
Lily is in the thing.
Right,
I think we got it too, you guys.
Is
there anything really fast though? Is there anything else that you felt was truly redeeming for this film that you did enjoy?
The one thing I did love was the introduction of the servant network.
Where the spy maids,
where they're like, we've actually got people in the fucking room. I thought that was a great idea. I thought that was snappy, and I loved it.
Yeah,
I did too. I thought that was
that won me over a little bit.
Which again, I thought was kind of like, all right, I guess I'm going to let it slide that this rich posh Duke, the Duke of Oxford, is making his nanny get in touch with other nannies so that he can gather information and overthrow the government. So I was like, all right, whatever.
I liked the movie that it could have been with there's a weird mustache. I don't even know who it was. A mustache direct to camera that said, "If they want a war, they will have one." Direct to camera out of nowhere. Like and the goat literally getting vengeance for having his horn cut off. Like that's like that movie.
He's loosely related to the hamster from Dr. Dolittle.
Yeah, and the giant guy that's like a Mike Myers villain.
You know you're in trouble when the goat's the best part of the movie. I think
not wrong.
I think I might have.
I reached for the buzzer and I was like, "No, that's fucking right." That goat. Because when that happened, I was like, "Fuck yeah, best goat since Black Phillip." That's so great.
I fucking love these. I love the first two. I had so much fun. I was anticipating the hell out of this.
A goat actor's getting better.
Acting is, there's a goat training school.
It's a throwback to a previous episode.
Dave, here you go. Here's the question, Dave. When we get sit down a couple months from now, a year from now, and we watch this whole franchise, are we going to watch this one again?
Probably not.
Depends on how good the next one is.
It left a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth.
You know what? Maybe this will be the weird number 3, and number 4 is going to be fucking awesome, which is just
apparently number.
I still like that they're making these movies. I hope they keep making them.
Apparently number 4 is going back to modern day. So, and it's back.
Wow, they were like, "Whoops!"
No, that was the intention when they first started doing it. Like they were going to do one prequel, and then like to give the franchise a beginning, and they left themselves.
Where's Stanley Tucci, Jeff?
What is Stanley Tucci doing?
What is he going to do?
There's no way. There's no way.
They've left it open to like fill in the gaps there because they've got a good 90 years they can fill in.
Wow, I mean, yeah, and they can always do flashbacky stuff. I know, I hear what you're saying.
Is that studio doing a movie that Tucci wants to be a part of? I want to figure this out.
Yeah, right. Fund my film.
They're doing that biopic that he always wanted to do. All right,
All
well, we
right,
can
well,
let's
this was
let's wind
fun.
it down. The best parts of the movie were Ray Fiennes trying really hard, although that really wasn't good enough because they gave him too much to do. It was Polly, and then Rasputin. I think. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. I don't know. The goat was the best part of the movie, right? This movie barely made its box office back, but also 2021 was a weird year. So it was $100 million budget,
Yeah, 'cause
121
Spider-Man had
worldwide
so much
box
trouble.
office. So get that, Dave. Like, we all know
Dave,
that Spider-Man and like
come on,
Shang-Chi
dude.
that there were exceptions. By the way, Shang-Chi, just fucking nominate Tony Leung for an Oscar. I'm looking at these categories. Like, get the fuck out
I
of here.
know,
Shang-Chi was.
dude. I am.
Did everybody
always
forget
gonna...
that? That was their one chance to actually be like, okay, Marvel, we
They
hear
really
you.
should have funded that. They could have bought that Oscar easy.
Their rating, and not that it's about rating, because he actually deserved it. Their ratings, I know this is
No,
nothing to
but
do
that's
with
how you
King's
get one.
their ratings would double if they had inclusion like that. But instead, it's whatever. We can talk about this in another episode. All right, people. So that was The King's Man, Mark's favorite movie of the year. Oh my gosh, The King's Man.
For Mark again.
Yeah, we're all fucking buzzed.
I'm kidding. But you know what? I will. To be fair, Jesus, why are we all getting buzzed? To be fair, I always get roasted on their podcast. They're always like, Jeff said this fucking thing, and fucking Jeff. So you guys are off the hook. So I can fire back. I'm still waiting on my move for Mark.
Yeah, I mean,
for
I
Matt.
don't
Sorry,
know.
for Matt.
I don't know
if
if you'd take a favorite from a man who holds the record of the most buzzes ever on our show. So
Yeah, but that was one of our highest episodes.
You guys, Mark texted me back. I told you I texted him, and he said, I loved it. He said he fucking loved it.
You love
God,
this
we might
movie?
have to have a debate episode about
Oh,
this
yeah.
fucking movie. I
Well,
need
he
to
said, here's the thing.
understand.
No, but let's be real. He said he loved it in his video thing that he sent to Matt when
Yeah,
we
yeah,
did the
I remember
episode because
that.
he was finding himself in the mountains. He said he loved it that there were a lot of twists and turns, and you know what? There were.
yeah.
So
He's
people
not
love
wrong.
the twists and turns.
Yeah, so many so he had to go into the mountains for a week.
Mark, we love you. Mark,
It's a
we
good
love
show.
you.
We
That
really
was
like
fun.
you. I can't wait.
Give it a shot. It's on
to
Hulu.
be
It's on
Sonic too.
HBO Max. I still think it's worth it. See it and tell us if we're
yeah.
crazy or if Mark's a genius and we're just fucking
it's
assholes.
not a bad
Yeah.
film. It's just not what I was
they're-
expecting.
They're both on the table. Yeah. All right, let's round this down. Round this down? Oh, fuck cares. This is the second
you.
episode of the week
We
for
don't
us.
round down in this country.
Okay.
Oh, God.
We're about to record our Uncharted episode, so I'm trying to get Dave drunk. People, if you want to hear us talk about Uncharted, go to our feed. If you want to hear us talk about other films, talk about this feed. If you want to hear us talk about 1917 and Paths of Glory, which this movie really tried to emulate for like 25 minutes out of nowhere at the end of this movie.
Go all the way back to episode 1.
Go all the way back to episode 1 for us. And
We were
with
nicer
that-
to those films.
We were definitely nice to those films. With that, it's time to go around the horn and give you some recommendations of the week with a quick round of what you been watching. Dave, what you been watching?
Oh, the one for this one, I've been falling right back into Fringe still.
All right.
Yep.
Oh, cool, dude.
Yeah, it's on HBO. They've got the full series apparently. But I'm up to where it gets real weird, and I'm loving it.
Nice.
I'm a big
Nice.
fan of that show.
John?
I've still only been watching Fresh Off the Boat, but I'm excited to say, I think this is the first time we're mentioning, maybe we already said this and I was just drunk last time we talked about it. I'm hoping I won't be able to say that's all I've watched recently because over the summer, Movie Pass 2.0 is coming back out. We can finally go back to movies that are not just AMC A-list or Regal, whatever that card is, and go see some other stuff as
I
well.
mean, the question
I
is,
desperately want to see The Worst Person in the World. I haven't seen
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I definitely want to go
no,
see
we
that.
definitely,
haven't seen it yet.
definitely need to see that. I know someone who has seen it.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
Yeah. That's all I have to say on that. No, they
That's
thought
all
it
I have to say
was they
about
thought
that.
it was great.
I rewatched The Graduate. We had to watch that in class. That was
Ooh.
a great watch. Hadn't seen that in a long time. It was
Wow.
really
Yeah.
excellent. Yeah.
So much
fun.
Simon and Garfunkel.
So much.
It's like watching
So-
Highlander and saying so much Queen.
Which episode? So this is this week's
That's a good thing.
episode.
Everybody watch Highlander.
You know what I did? You know what I watched this week? I'm trying to think because I actually watched like a couple. I watch things like when I work out and cook and stuff, so my eyes aren't like glazed on the TV. But one thing I actually did watch was I rewatched GoldenEye. GoldenEye's on Prime right now for
Oh.
free. GoldenEye feels like it's 700 years old. That movie feels old as fuck. I'm
Movie didn't
exaggerating,
age well?
but it feels 50 years old. I mean, if that's the gold standard for Pierce Brosnan, I was actually a little bummed. But at the same time, there are so many things in it that are so iconic.
You
for
might
me
have
that
got
I was
your
like,
wires
fuck yeah.
crossed. The video game is the best video game ever made.
No, I know.
but the
played
movie,
I
not
played the
so
game,
much, maybe.
I played that game every single day
Yeah.
for years. But the movie I was watching, and the effects are weird, and it just felt a little dated, but I still had a blast. I had fun. Pierce, he was so smooth.
man.
Pierce, he
They're,
was
always,
so
they're
smooth.
always kind of fun to go back to, except those Roger Moore ones.
Yeah.
Oh, Dave's coming out swinging.
We tried. All right, people. There's the pup. There she is. All right. All right. That's good. That's good podcast talking about the dog that's on John's screen. All right, people. Thank you so much for joining our episode of The King's Man. We hope we encourage you to go see this movie, which is available to stream right now at your home.
Yes.
And with
so
that,
walk from the kitchen to the living room and go see this movie.
check out our
give it a
feed, and
shot. Give it a
we'll see you
shot.
soon, film fans.
Peace.